Давайте сделаем круг и изобразим то, что мы проснулись и чувствуем себя хорошо и бодро. Симулируем пробуждение. Сколько у нас времени? До скольки классов?
До 4.
Ну, отлично. Мини-класс. Alright.
Да.
А сейчас сколько времени? А сейчас без 10.
Без 10 что?
Да. 3. Да?
На 20 минут.
Мы опоздали, а грамотно вошли. Дали всем отдохнуть. Okay, so this class is about body-oriented coaching, or this modality also called somatic coaching. And
Magic?
coaching, yes, it's pure magic. Somatic coaching, magical somatic coaching. I'm considering making this name card body-oriented magic. So yes, it's magical in a way. And it's also called non-verbal coaching. Like there are many words for it now, and it's just because it's very new modality. And to my mind, this is one of the edges of progress in this field, in the body field, in present time. If we look into the past, we can see how different practices that people did, how it changed from time to time, and how people gained more and more awareness about themselves. If we would remember, like maybe 40 or 50 years ago, there was a lot of physical practices, a lot of different types of sports, and so on. But people used their bodies mostly like tools or instruments to get some, to be faster, just I don't know, to win some kind of competition, to put the ball into some kind of whatever, and so on. And then suddenly the boom of yoga took place in the world, and it was the first time. What was the difference between yoga and, for example, Pilates, which was like complete Western practice? Like yoga was like Pilates originally was created by a man who drank beer and ate meat during the sessions. Like he was going literally, you know, Pilates itself, himself.
He was German.
He was German, yes. That probably explains something, yeah. So he would literally took like a big glass of beer, and he would wander around people and just adjust them, just drinking beer. And now it's completely different, and like it was a man's stuff, because it was very powerful and stuff like things like that. And then Pilates was really influenced by yoga, and that's why we know modern Pilates more like a saddle practice, more gentle and soft and full of awareness. But it's how it was influenced by yoga, because yoga actually was the first practice that introduced to the people, to the Western world, I would say, this idea of paying attention to the body itself while doing practice. Like you didn't, since then, you didn't use your body just as a tool. You actually paid attention to what's going on inside your body. And the less popular practice that gradually now raises popularity in Western cultures is Chinese practices like Tai Chi, Qigong, and stuff like that. Martial arts. It's also becoming more and more popular, and the idea of these practices is meditation in movement. It's combining movement, breathing, and awareness of your posture, of the place that each of your extremities and your trunk take place in the air, how you move, what you do, stuff like that. So when we shift our awareness from just the goal in the outer space and change it into observing what's going on inside our own bodies, that's where the change starts, because we're no longer a tool to develop something, to achieve some goals, to get some results, but instead of that, we're becoming the process. So we start treating ourselves as changing phenomena. It's like when we were kids, we had these tasks on mathematics, like mathematics class, like the car leaves like first place and goes to another place with such a speed, and so on, when we would reach the place. And now we start to look at the car itself, like car is changing while traveling, and now the car leaves and then it turns into airplane, and then it dives deep into the sea, and then it just thinks, okay, now it's time for me to have a break, I'm gonna rest now. And that's the change that happened in relation towards someone's body. Like people gradually start to put more attention to how they live, what they eat, what the air they intake, because bodies suddenly became important, and the questions of the body suddenly raised up. And that was at a certain level, like why yoga became so popular, why not Chinese martial arts or Tai Chi or Qigong, why not that? Because yoga is a way more simple, because it's already brought to the West by Western people, and Indian people who practiced it, like ancient practice of yoga, didn't preserve till our days. It was kind of reinvented in a very simple and I would say profaning form, mundane. And this kind of yoga, of course, found its own followers, because it was a way easier to teach just the postures and the most like some kind of breathing exercises. And Chinese still, because it's tradition that lasts for more than 5,000 years, they still have these consequences of combinations between different motions and so on. And why this yoga still was a big step in progress in the Western world? Because usually we in the West, and Russia is a part of the West, of course, we use, in this particular case, we treat our bodies as tools to receive something, to get something out of life. And we didn't pay attention to what's going on inside of it. Once we turned inside, we suddenly discovered the body has its own agenda, that it wants something, that it needs something, that it needs fresh air, it needs good food, it needs some exercises, and so on. And that was like part of this progress. And now it's a new stage is coming, and some of the yoga teachers that they're sensitive enough to get this new vibration in the air, they do understand that something is changing, and there gradually new classes arise when people will talk about emotional yoga or stuff like that, or yoga of feelings or something, or yoga of partnership, of interaction. What's that? What's new in the field? It's like we suddenly started to understand that not our body is just something that has its own agenda. It's also connected with our feelings and emotions. And by saying that, I'm telling you literally that by moving in a different, special manner, you develop certain type of emotions, and we all know about that actually, because it's in a way it's very evident. Like for example, if you slouch and bring your head down and look down in a way, and then you would try to say that really feel so happy to see all of you here, and I think it's going to be a great class, and I'm really happy to enjoy, and I'm really enjoying the moment being here. Yeah, it's like, and on the other hand, if I would like straighten up, cheer up, yeah, and I would say like really I feel really depressed, and while looking at you, I actually don't know what to tell you. You see, even my voice, and though I'm trying to sound as much depressing as I can, just because of my posture. And you can do this experiment by yourself. I think you know the results already. Like posture, the way you move, the way you go through the life matters a lot. And for example, if someone is grown up, and I would really ask you to breathe now. Inhale and exhale, bringing a bit of attention to your body. So we know like that we all have postures, and postures that we acquire during life is very much affected by our environment, what we see. Like people learn from each other. When you go to Egypt and you will see how men walk there and how women walk, or you would go to United States, or you would go to Russia, or to Israel. Like coming to Israel every time for me is a great experience. Just to walk along the beach and to see people who are walking on the promenade along the sea. And I will see so many details of different types of motion and so much of expression of people. And you can see all the different types of people. You can see Arabs, you can see religious Jews, you can see youngsters, you can see kids, you can see all kinds of social and religious and nations, a lot of foreigners. So you see a lot of expression there. When you come back to Russia, for example, you would see that people are really, in a way, live in the kind of boxes. On the other hand, we have Caucasians there, people from the Caucasian republics, which are articulating a lot, and you can see a lot of expression there. So language matters, body language matters, and it's somehow we get it from our environment. There was one thing I wrote. I read in a book about Van Gogh. It was Van Gogh biography, and it was about his time when he was serving as a priest in one small village where there was a miner. It was a village of miners.
What is miners?
Shachterы. Shachterы. Not minors, but miners. You know that? Mines? People who were digging the stuff out. Okay, so it was, and he was serving for them. And what he found out is that they had a very narrow and very small holes in the ground where they were, and they used to walk all the time, slouching, really in this position. And when they came home, they continued to walk like this. And the kids who actually grew up without going to the mines, they, from the very beginning of their childhood, they walked like this. So they were, from the very beginning, they already were shaped as a perfect miners, because they even didn't know how to straighten up, because they learned from their fathers. Exactly. It's like, and that's how we're all shaped in a way. Because just we were happy enough that our parents wasn't working in mines all the time, but that was the way. Somehow they still were shaped by society, by their families, and that's how we inherit their own approaches to work, stuff like that. And that means, if we combine these two ideas, first one is that our body posture influences how we feel ourselves. Do we feel depressed or do we feel happy? Whatever. If we combine it with tradition that brings us society, our families, culture, that means that just because of our societies we're shaped in a way that makes us feel special way. And maybe in your own history, if you have some kind of trauma or anything and you somehow hold something, in a way you cannot easily get into another state because your body holds you in the way you are now. And because you used to live in this body, in this special shape, in this special form, in this special type of life, somehow you are restricted by your body. And if you want to be happy in a way, maybe for you it means to go to the place where your body have never been or didn't stay for a long time. Once I had a friend, not friend, just a person we hanged out together in India. There was a small group of people from St. Petersburg. I met them there and we had a lot of fun. And one of the guys, he was really athletic, really huge muscles and this a little bit of Russian tension like this with his shoulders like that, and he was walking like this. All the other friends of his, they were quite relaxed, but he was really tough. And beautiful body in a way, but really two tans, very built up. And once we sat on the sunset, on the beach, he was smoking a joint, and when he finished it, he just sat like that and said, "Wow, how am I relaxed now?" Yeah, because for him, instead of this becoming a little bit like that, is already a huge deal of a change. Yeah. And what this all non-verbal somatic approach is about is that by changing your pattern, maybe a little bit, not dramatically, but changing it, stretching your way of behavior, finding some fields where you feel differently, finding them with awareness. Excuse me for that. Hello.
And let's observe his body language right now. Okay?
Через полтора часа перезвоните. Перезвоните мне через полтора часа.
Yeah, exactly. And he didn't take anything, watch it.
У него почему-то не включается звук, я извиняюсь, я пробовал.
And also he stood up.
Yeah, exactly. It was very interesting. Thank you for that.
So, by changing our pattern, by stretching your range of motion in a way, by going into movements and doing stuff that we don't do usually, or that we do but don't do intentionally, we can get the states, we can change some patterns of our motion, and by changing them we can change the way we feel. We can get some results that we want to achieve, like we can get the qualities we like to have, and stuff like that. To understand what I mean, and we can do it not just with a posture, we can do it with anything, like so many things to influence ourselves you cannot imagine. For example, we can do simple things like now, which take maybe a few minutes. Let's take this, and explore what's this. Let's look at that. Misha already tried to bring our attention to that yesterday. But now we can, in the daylight, really look at that and see what's that, how it's organized. And now we would try to make our palm a fist and then open up this fist again. And let's do it in your own rhythm, just the way that's convenient and comfortable for you. You can do it with one hand or you can do it with two hands. One hand is better because you can easily concentrate on that. And you just find your rhythm and they stay with it. Connect with your rhythm and just do it. And pay attention what's easier for you, to open up your palm or to close it. How fast you're doing it. Do you leave some fingers or thumb separate when you close the fist, or you do it all together? And now I would ask you to do one thing, like turn towards your partner, towards someone who's sitting near you. You can sit in pairs and you can sit all three together, like three of you, for example. And now you can explore one thing, like one person will be the person who would do this just his own way of opening and closing the fist. And others would watch that, and then after watching for a while, you would try to mimic it, to copy it. You would try just to see how the other person does that. And you pay attention how the person opens up, how he or she closes the fist. Is it like full range of motion? How the fingers are engaged? What's the rhythm? Is it smooth, or is it go like in few motions? Do you put your thumb inside or outside, or you leave it unattended at all? But you're just doing your own way. And then you slowly start copying it, trying to copy every little aspect of that. Do you open up your fingers when you open, separate your fingers when you open the fist. And then while doing that, while copying, you start paying attention to what you feel while doing that. How does it feel to live like that? To have this idea of opening and closing your fist. Is it a proper expression, opening and closing fist? How do you say it in English?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah? Great. So you can stop now and remember this expression, remember this feeling, remember how did it feel to you to do this, and now you can change, and another person will do, and the others will mimic her. So we start just by observing, just by watching someone doing it, and see every little aspect of this motion. Does your partner's feelings, partner's fingers trembling when they're doing that? How wide do they open? Which fingers, which thumb or thumb goes first, and so on. And when you start copying, pay attention, how does it feel when you copy this kind of motion? How does it feel? how does it feel to move like this? It's a very simple exercise. It gives a lot of food for thought. And now you can stop. And you are welcome to share your experience. How was it for you? Was it interesting? What did you notice? Did you like the style of movement of your partner? What did you feel when you were doing this? Okay, let's have a circle again so that we can discuss it a little bit. All right. How was it for you? Did you notice something? Well,
It was really interesting. It's quite simple. Gave lots and lots of experiences I did with difference of the other. And as you said, such the words which we assume the same, opening fist, closing fist, have such a different meaning for different person.
well, saying different meaning.
And the different meaning is a different kind of movement, different pattern of movement, different muscles we engage in our head, different signals we send to our head. Also, I don't know, because it was so obvious that right now like, this hand have already been engaged and she did by herself started with her left hand. Not mimicking, not the one she was mimicking, but kind of offered her other hand to work for, and also helped a lot with the kids' connection. With this one was my hand, and this one was.
Did you, when you were mimicking Sasha, what did you? How was it for you? What did you feel actually?
Well,
on your level, not on the physical level, but on the emotional level. Did you?
you were saying that like it's all physical. Just last class you were saying that it's all physical.
Okay, it's new class.
It was interesting. The
Interesting.
main emotion I felt
Okay,
was
let's that's interesting. Anyone had this feeling of strange, maybe unpleasant, unusual, or somehow powerful, different style that influenced you in this way? So you would feel like that it alters you, makes you feel different.
Yeah, I have
Okay.
this experience.
Okay.
First of all, I don't know if I did a good job, but I also mimicked the posture and the way how.
That's Russian style. When you ask to do something, you immediately start to modify the exercise. Okay, let's shift to someone who just did the exercise right. You managed now. Stay into the corner. No, oh sorry, there is no corners.
We'll find something for you.
Поставил по кругу вместо
Yes.
For me, it was very. It changed my inner state very much
Uh-huh.
because I felt, in a way, the movement felt very similar, but there was very different accent, and there was it seemed like a lot of tension when Misha would close his fist.
Mm-hmm.
It felt almost painful to me.
Uh-huh.
And it made me feel inside very, I don't know the word, like much more concentrated than I am, and much more собранно.
Uh-huh.
Much more together. It's called when I'm together means I'm kind of aligned with myself.
Нет, aligned это не то, собранное это другое, это не собранное.
Maybe centered.
Compact.
Yeah.
Okay, so in a way you just learned what it means to be Misha in a way.
Yeah, I would say
Because yeah, if you would compare yourself to it, like Misha was practicing like many years to concentrate, to become more aligned, more centered. And now, just by mimicking this simple way, like maybe 40 years ago, you would do it differently. Yeah. And now, just by going into that, you immediately get a some kind of link of understanding what it means to be like that. Anyone else? Yusuf, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just noticed that. I mean, I don't know if it had to do with
Doesn't matter.
that we switched hands also, but yeah, I noticed when I was using my right hand and Max was doing his, and it was like just his movements were very fluid and
Very good.
fluid.
Fluid. All right.
And then I switched to my left hand, and I was just trying to move what felt natural, and I just felt very stiff and like stiff, and like my my hand was kind of shaking. So I don't know if that was just following his flow.
How did you feel
Doing mine, or
doing his?
I felt, I guess, more calm.
More calm.
Very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
How someone even live like that?
No, not like I don't know. Really, I'm pleased that I'm sitting here. Not I'm pleased. Like I'm waiting for something, and I'm like I'm not good with myself. Like I'm hesitating or waiting for something. Yeah, very uncomfortable. And yeah, angry. Maybe. I don't know.
So you connected with something that, in your experience, was associated with these feelings. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that your partner experiences this type of emotions. It just means that you, in a way, feel like you stay in a different type of spectrum. It's again talking about polarities. We're talking about in the morning.
Maybe for me it's awkward because I did something different.
Yeah, sure, but there are styles, different styles that really bring you to this state. Like, for example, if you would do it with Mitch. Like what I noticed, for example, can I see your way? Yeah. See, like for example, when Vanya does that, he put his thumb inside. Can we all copy him and see how it feels? And just copy all that practice. Like also see how gentle the fingers move when they surround the thumb. And pay attention to the power with which it goes. And also see how the thumb is going this way. Yeah? Not very wide. How do you feel? Cool. How do you feel? Do you feel open to the world and and ready to go for some adventure?
Not really.
Maybe you feel like you want to stand for your rights and protect, or and to fight.
And also the thumb inside.
Down inside.
In my world,
No, just in your feeling.
yeah, that's what I
No.
am. Yeah, in my world of feeling,
Feeling.
it's kind of a very kind of a dangerous situation
Yeah.
when it could be broken right away if I
Right.
strike somebody.
But how? Yeah. But it's you go more for not for metaphor, but just for ideas. But how do you experience that?
That's what I mean. I even start feeling pain here. It's
But what's inside? How you feel here?
kind of a little
Yeah.
bit scared and
Yeah,
unprotected.
scared and unprotected in a way. And actually, usually when we put thumb inside, it's some kind of sign that we need some kind of protection. Hide something. Let's change it and do it like this. Yeah, put the thumb in a different way. See, and see what Lena does, for example. You see, it's a very different style. Let's do like this too. Like this. Like it's a cap and you cover it.
No, that's totally different.
Yeah, that's completely different.
Body.
And it's,
I copied.
no, you copy from me. That's what I did and that's what you did. And it's a huge difference, you will see. How you feel now when you're doing this way? When you bring your thumb up?
I find something childish maybe.
Childish?
Childish and kind of this part of the body is light and sort of filled with air.
And separated in a way.
Yeah, exactly. It's separated.
separated.
Yeah.
It's like your head is separated and you cannot hide it, you know? Lena thought she was copying me. But you cannot fool your habits, you know? Your habits would always show who you are. In a way, maybe in a little way, but they would definitely do. That's what we all do. Like, if you would do like this, you would definitely feel disconnected somehow. And for example, if you too connected in a way to something and you want to disconnect, just now you got a huge lesson from Lena, and now you know how to disconnect in a way when you need to disconnect, when you want to get rid out of some feeling that is somehow chasing you, that don't let you go. You just do this like for a minute and see how it changes. Changes, alters you immediately. Do you feel anything while doing that, or it's just my words?
I feel happy.
You
For some
feel-
reason, suddenly there's some kind of joy in just in my being right away.
Anyone else feels anything except for Misha, who's very sensitive and learns how to do it from
Yep.
Yeah?
It's very funny position.
Funny.
Yes, because
How does it feel?
some new muscles.
Come on, how does it feel? I'm not interested in muscles now. This is not a muscle class. Well,
More.
how does it feel? How
For
does
me, it's connected with the sport.
No,
I
how does it feel?
like, okay.
But this is crazy.
My sleepy mood is gone.
Yes, okay, you see, it's changing the mood. Sleepy mood is gone now, because the head is light. In the air. I should use this exercise because I want to sleep all the time. Thank you. All right. And now let's do something else. Let's connect this with the breathing. When you inhale, please make a fist. When you exhale, open it up. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And make it like a proper inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Inhale. How does that feel? I want to hear someone who didn't tell anything. Sonia. How was it?
Haven't you done it in the Russian way?
How does it feel? What do you feel while doing this?
That it makes sense, and
Oh.
it's kind of center of my being now.
How do you feel when doing that? Do you feel more energetic, more relaxed, more concentrated, less concentrated?
I feel calmer.
Calmer,
I feel protected,
protected.
and it's easier to breathe. It's easier to breathe here.
It's easier to breathe. Because when we exhale and open up, it's like complete opening. It's like letting go. It's you exhale at the same time you open, you let go. Let's shift breathing and movement. When inhale, we open it up, and when exhale, bring it to the fist. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. How does that feel?
I feel pissed off.
Huh?
I feel pissed off.
This time. Okay.
The first one was more mobilizing some kind.
Mobilizing for you.
The first one,
First one.
the previous.
Interesting.
And this is pulsating but without mobilization. I mean it's some kind of introversion in the second kind. So you're just opening and closing. First one was you are collecting energy and mobilizing, and the second one is to be some kind of pulsing or
Oh, really interesting. Passive, also really interesting.
pulsation.
Pulsing.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Pulsating.
Anyone else?
For me, it's rather in different way that I become very much centered.
Centered.
Like I become some vessel to which the water is
Yeah.
pushed in.
I would also say that this is a way more concentrating than the previous one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Together.
it's very personal. Like you can have your personal language and your personal way to talk about things, to express your feelings, and you can also have the different maybe structure of feeling themselves. Anyone else?
The second one also makes me go inward and kind of more within myself, whereas the first one makes me go outside and engages it, sort of opens the whole body towards
Yeah.
the outside, external environment.
Great.
I felt somewhat squeezed.
Squeeze.
Yeah, more difficult to breathe.
Yes. When you're getting more concentrated,
Yeah.
it's more difficult to breathe, definitely. But then you just pump into yourself like something, like pumping. It's more like that. Though it's not for everybody. Like somebody can have a different perspective of it, and we should pay attention to what we feel at the moment. And now, how can we use this simple exercise? What can we do with that? First of all, we have some kind of a monitor outside of us, and at the same time being a part of it. Like sometimes it's not easy to remember to start observing your breathing, especially when it's subtle and you can't concentrate on it in a way. But for example, being in a traffic jam or in some kind of unpleasant situation or in any kind of stress, whatever, anywhere, like on a meeting, whatever, you always can open up and close your fist in the way you usually do it, like we did it now in the beginning, when you did it your own way. For example, if you're in Moscow traffic jam and you see a lot of angry people around you in the cars, stuck there, and you're in a rush somewhere, and then you try to do it, and then you realize that you're doing something like this. And then when you have this monitor, when you can understand what's going on, and you feel that you're really, and you see, because that's how your organism, how your body shows what's going on. And then you just start adding some breathing to that, you start connecting with that, you just observe that, continuing it, and at some point you understand that it's excessive, that it's not that your anger or your something else, I don't know, aggression, whatever, what's going on inside. That it's not just something objective. It's that something that's inside your head. And while doing that, you start observing, start seeing what's going on with you. Then you can add some breathing, and then at some point, you can see that it's changing, and then you can add something like, for example, breathe out when you open it up, and slowly, gradually, you would go to the state where you can let go of that just by changing this simple thing. That's how our body can change our state, can alter what we feel. How much time do we have now then? What do we have left? 25 minutes. Okay. Now I would like you to do some exercise outside. We can do it all together. And it's a good exercise that will help you, Misha already knows that will help you to regulate in general your state of being. You can, by doing this exercise, you can alter, stretch your ways of movement, stretch your ways of feeling, and bring you to more widen, more open, more spaciousness, more spacious space, spacious place. Yeah. You can just
Spacious space.
Okay.
Пойдем туда, откуда нас прогнали с утра?
Пятеренки, шестеренчатые, Петрович.